Good afternoon. My name is Danny Evans, and I am an instructional supervisor at PA Cyber. Today we are going to be discussing what you can do as a teacher to prepare your students to acquire the skills they will need for future employment in a global world and become more adept at civil discourse in dealing with disputes rather than being polarized. In 2011, Lars and Miller wrote an article that analyzed 21st century skills and how to prepare students for the future. The key concept they established is that teachers should not treat these 21st century skills as just one more thing to teach, but rather an overall theme across all disciplines. These skills are defined as being skills that increasingly demand creativity, perseverance, and problem solving combined with performing well as a team. From this, we can conclude that jobs in the future will require large amounts of collaboration and adaptability. Some of the specific skills mentioned in the article that teachers need to emphasize in daily instruction include creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, research and information fluency, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, and digital citizenship. Lars and Miller explain how teachers need to allow for students to draw their own conclusions from the content and then use this information to make decisions and create new ideas. This emphasizes the idea that there is not always one solution for every problem, and that future jobs will require employees to troubleshoot problems in a variety of ways. A large amount of importance is placed on that of technology. The authors believe that students need to utilize new forms of technology to research, organize, evaluate, and communicate information. This causes for a more complex and diverse learning experience for the students. One of the thoughts proposed in the article particularly struck me. They said that once individual mastery of the technology is achieved by each student, it needs to be shared with a broader community of learners. This goes to show that jobs in the future will require their employees to be masters of technology so that they are prepared to communicate and collaborate with those they will be interacting with in a rapidly changing world. The President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology wrote an article in 2010 that discusses the importance of developing the skills of today's students in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM. Some of the most prevalent jobs in the future will include the fields of energy, health, environmental protection, and national security. The Council explains how STEM will prepare today's students for these jobs in the future and ensure that the United States remains a leader among nations. However, one of the most troubling issues is that STEM is lacking in the interest of today's students. They explain that teachers should adjust their classroom instruction to help create more of an interest in these subject areas. One example they provide to accomplish this goal is to implement more individual and group experiences outside of the classroom. Teachers themselves need to be well versed in science, math, and technology so that they will be more qualified to adequately teach the specific content to their students. The Council concludes this article by describing how all students need to be exposed to these content areas and that teachers must motivate all students to pursue a career in the STEM fields. Alright, I'm here with Natasha Vasquez-Lee. She is an elementary teacher at the Northside office of PA Cyber. Natasha, when it comes to jobs in the future, what kind of skills are employers going to require from their workers and why?
Well, I think that jobs right now are becoming increasingly automatized. So computers are being able to perform jobs a lot more that previously humans would do. So employees are going to require a lot of higher level thinking skills like critical thinking and problem solving, not just basic content knowledge.
Right.
And employers, they're going to want workers to be able to apply that content knowledge in unpredictable, like real world situations.
Right. Okay. Why do you think it's important for teachers today to promote an educational approach that enhances critical thinking and problem solving skills?
Well, as a teacher, I think that it's always been important for teachers to promote critical thinking and problem solving skills. That's nothing new, I don't think, but the focus seems to be shifting more from teachers preparing students just for getting into college to preparing them to be able to obtain better jobs, I would say, because anybody can regurgitate content in fact or pick out correct answers on multiple choice tests and things like that, but being able to apply your knowledge to a real world situation.
Right.
That's what would set kids apart from their peers.
Awesome. Okay, and finally, Natasha, how can technology be used in a student's education to help them acquire these 21st century skills?
I think there's a wealth of technology available to enhance student learning. Technology definitely is a more engaging way of supplementing content knowledge acquisition than simple, paper textbooks. But students also need to learn how to use that technology to get the most out of their education, and they also need to be able to use technology for effective communication and collaboration, like on peer projects and things like that, especially in today's workforce.
So what you're saying is these students just can't be given the technology and say, here, use this and complete this assignment without ever using the technology before or knowing how to use it.
Right, obviously they need to be taught how to use it.
Okay. Natasha, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I am now going to discuss 3 learning goals I have for myself related to this topic. One learning goal I have is that I have to develop a list of virtual tour sites I can work into my social studies classroom. Online virtual tours can bring historic locations from around the world right into a student's home. Several assignments and group activities can be implemented involving these tours, and they can be a great and inexpensive way for students to interact with technology while gaining an outside of the classroom experience to learn the material. Another goal I would like to accomplish is to implement more research-based activities for students to complete. These research-based activities would allow for students to possess more control over what they are learning, as well as to come up with their own creative ways to acquire the information. This will allow for students to develop critical thinking skills, express creativity, and understand there are various ways to solve different problems, and relate to the content in a way that is meaningful to them. One last goal I would like to accomplish would be to incorporate science, math, and technology into my social studies curriculum on a regular basis. Just because I'm a social studies teacher, it doesn't mean that these areas need to remain separate as a content area. If I can help enhance these skills within my own classroom instruction, I will be able to ensure my students are better prepared and more properly equipped with 21st century skills that they will need to become successful in the future. This concludes our broadcast, and we hope you have a great evening. For Natasha Vasquez-Lee, I'm Danny Evans, and we'll see you next time.